So pretty much off the bat, like the game, it's like fast paced, but since generally when you play Souls, you attack and kill a lot of the enemies. It feels like there's a lot going on, but when you sort of skip them, it's actually a lot of like downtime, I guess. So it slows down in between the fights, since there's no point killing like a lot of the enemies unless they're very detrimental. In rare cases, this wolf at the start can kill you. Hopefully he won't.
Yeah. But it can happen,
yeah,
for
it's
sure.
nice and chill. It can happen. We have had many a case, and it's very possible it's going to happen in the tournament that wolf will kill you. Yeah. Send you packing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But pretty much how we kick it off, we don't actually have any weaponry. We start in this clinic, no weapons, so we can't defend ourselves except by punching, which is terribly slow. So we rush to the dream area. I'm not diving into the lore of this. And get our weaponry. Okay, cool. And I am just quickly sending something to Nubisaurus Rex, who is pretty much like our community manager right now for this tournament. He puts in a lot of good work, and he's also a runner himself, and very enthusiastic about the community and races. And
yeah,
he's a neat cat. So
here we're just getting the saw cleaver and the pistol, right, Natty? Yeah,
so we get the saw cleaver, the pistol, but if you may have seen, he also picked up a threaded cane that's used for a skip we do later. How it works is when you first enter the dream, the puddle, as it comes up, it actually takes, like, you can interact with it earlier than the animation finishing, so we interact with it as quickly as we can, so when it goes to disappear, we pick up another weapon for free. It's kind of like opening a shop twice that you can access, like, free weapons too.
Yeah.
So that's like a neat little time save.
And just now, Ahady also picked up some mollies, which will be used on the first boss of the game, which is Father Gascoigne.
Who, objectively is one of the harder bosses, one of the hardest, and one of the most hated.
Right at the beginning of the run.
Possibly the entire series. Yeah, he's, for many reasons, not a likable person.
And then this is actually the first skip of the game too, or first skip of this run, which is sewer skip. Basically saves you from having to run through the entire sewer, which saves about how many seconds, Natty?
Roughly like 45-ish seconds. Yeah, it's a good skip. It gets us, like, going through the sewer, we have to go down, around, and then back up a ladder. We just do some sweet parkour, roll on a fence, same as IRL. Boom.
Yep.
We're through it. Just watch. Look at this mad lad. Look.
Perfect.
It's okay. He did that for show. It was all part of the.
That was all for
part
show.
Of the act. But
and there's actually two ways to do this skip as well, right, Natty? So one way involves a quit out, and the other way is just involving a plunge attack with your saw cleaver. Yeah. So sorry, I'll explain that in a sec. Let me just... I'm quickly sending something to Sorry, he's
Newbie.
answering some quick messages. But yeah, so basically one of the ways that you can do the skip is you jump onto the railing and you're kind of, with your momentum, you're falling off onto the edge, like into the sewer. And before you actually land in the sewer, you'll quit out. So that way the game basically puts you on the railing. And then the other way to do it is just jumping onto the railing at the same time that you're doing a plunge attack, right? So that way it basically saves the quit out.
Yeah, it's a little stricter to do the plunge attack. Ahady just did something quite insane by accident. So he slipped on the edge, which made him land on a beam. So usually he should take like the full amount of damage, but because of the way the sloping works in the ground, there's a few extra frames that you can actually quit out and live. And that just happened. And it was for show. He put it on. Yeah, he's doing it on purpose. It's actually all part of the act.
I mean, this is a show match, so we're trying to show you interesting bits of this run.
Just show you when things go wrong, they still go right. The Canadian way.
Of course. So here is actually the first boss arena. This is Father Gascoigne, first boss of the run, like we said.
Yeah, extremely difficult and very sporadic. So what we try and do is we want to force a parry straight away, just to get in the damage, and when he gets up, we'll throw some a Molotov at him. It gets our stamina back, puts us comfy. He's going to take it a bit slow. He's going to show off a backstab, so just to get in more damage, while they're in a backstab state, if you throw a Molotov at them, they'll actually take extra counter damage. So what we want to do is we get him to shoot here so that we can avoid seeing his second phase where he extends his axe. That one's extremely dangerous. This phase, like, it seems really scary because it's like, oh, big beast boy, but you can kind of just walk around him. The big thing, the second phase has like all the sort of hyper armor that you can't hit through that'll damage you. But he got through that really cleanly, and that's the first boss.
Yeah,
makes
super
it look
clean.
like it's not a problem. Yeah, so...
And then what's the reason for fighting on the stairs there, Natty? Because I know there's a reason why you want to kind of like position him there.
The main reason we do it is actually that gunshot. So he runs back and shoots his gun a lot. The stairs have a tendency to eat it, just like eat the bullets so they don't actually hit you. It's so we can always stay in a range where we can backstab him when he goes to do things. But pretty much now it's like one of the downtimes. We have like a nice set here that we equip. It'll give us a lot of defense for what's to come up. So for now, it's sort of just progressing the game as normal. There's not a lot. Damn, cute girl. There's not a lot.
That's very true.
You sort of have to do here except avoid these dogs, who. If you guys have ever played a video game with dogs, let's be honest,
any
they're
Souls
annoying.
game with dogs.
Yeah, to put it lightly, they're annoying.
Definitely can be.
But yeah, it's pretty much like gathering resources right now for what we're going to use in the run. So this guy gives you some fire paper, which gives you a fire element on your weapon, and
which will be used on one of the bosses in a little bit.
Yeah, so what Ahady just did is a common technique we like to do for safety. When you quit out in this game, all enemies go back to their original position. So what he did was he pulled out that quit out menu, and if the dogs blocked him at the door, he would have quit the game. And then when he came back in, because it always saves your last location, so when you come back in the game, the dogs wouldn't be there. But they let him through, so it's all nice and chill.
Yeah, they were good this time.
Yeah, this time.
They often aren't, though. Yeah, definitely a strategy you want to have like in your back pocket just in case they don't cooperate, because it's not fun to be killed by the dogs. At that point, you probably just want to reset.
Yeah, that's kind of the scary thing about running Souls games in general. When you're obviously grinding out runs, you can just reset, but when you die in anything like this, a showcase or a race, you got to keep going, and that's where it gets a bit painful. So right here is another skip.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go, Tech.
Oh, sorry. So this is old Yarnum skip, basically just trying to get onto the building and going through the textures, kind of, so that way you're basically just skipping one of the main, or not main, but an early segment of the game that kind of has not a lot to it. But it's kind of a complicated way of doing that, right? So you're basically trying to angle your jump perfectly, so that way you land just on that railing like you saw, and if you don't, you'd obviously fall off and die.
Yeah, exactly. And that's one of the worst ones, because if you die there, you have to go all the way back to that cathedral earlier after Gascoigne. So we have a lot of ways to do it. He took a bit of a slower way, but it's very consistent.
Yeah.
So that's why you saw him kind of wait there for a little before he ran and jumped. And now we're coming up to the second boss, who, some people have struggled with this boss. If you haven't seen the speedrun strat before,
makes this boss look pretty easy.
Yeah, we may trivialize her in a sense, and he's missed the opening hit, but it won't really matter.
Yeah.
There is one thing to sort of describe with what we use in the speedrun. They're called beast blood pellets, and the main purpose is when you use them, every time you do an attack, you build this gauge up. The gauge,
and that's the gauge you can kind of see in the middle of the screen right there.
Yeah, so like that, the top one, the one below it is the poison from blood-starved beasts.
Mm-hmm.
But what the gauge does is the higher it is, the more damage you deal, but the more damage you take.
Yeah.
We don't really take damage in boss fights that much, so we're just getting like all this damage. When that gauge is full, you get 70% extra damage, so it's like an astronomical chunk. And that goes hand in hand with why the run is so scary, because they're a limited resource. So we've pretty much mapped it to have the right amount for most of the game. But if you lose one from a death to a boss, it's not just dying to a boss anymore. You have to return without, you know, your super powerful chunk of blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there an RTSR-like equipment? Yeah, so a lot of this game operates with a different mechanic called blood gems. So what they do is when you equip them, they give you and your weapons different properties. If you don't know what RTSR is, it's Red Tearstone Ring. That's a ring in Souls games where if you're low on life, you deal more damage. They have gems called Poor Man's Gems that do the exact same thing. When you're low on life, you deal more damage. They're really out of the way though, so we don't use them in the run. But what we pretty much do here, we're just descending to get to the next boss, and just picking up some sort of items on the way. Firstly, there's a cord that's used to get the secret, I guess, final, like the proper final boss. And there's a set there called the doll set. It's just worth a lot of echoes. Echoes is like your currency, so we pretty much get that just to boost our levels a bit when we sell it.
Yeah.
Unless you're like Tay. I think Tay just wore the set.
I did for quite some time. And then this basically is that's actually ladder warp right there. So basically the reason that you'd want to do that is so after you kill Amelia, you basically are going to be warped back there to that point. Like you trick the game into thinking you're on that ladder, so that way you can go back to that point quickly. Sorry to jump in there, Natty.
No, that's good. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. We just go quickly dab on a ladder so we can come back later. It's
pretty much
quite cool.
Then here's the third boss. This is Vicar Amelia. And I think this boss introduces a pretty interesting mechanic, in my opinion, of this game, which is basically like the limb breaking mechanism. Do you kind of want to go in more about that, Natty? Like more in detail about why you'd want to do this?
Yeah, for sure. So what you're going to see is a really scripted fight where we use this limb stagger mechanic to just keep her in a way that she can't even play. How the limb staggers tend to work is when you deal enough damage, their limb breaks, which staggers them. That's kind of where the name comes from. If you re-hit those broken limbs, they actually take extra damage. So not only are you getting like an advantage from staggering them, you can't necessarily re-stagger them, but you can kind of wail on those broken limbs to do even more damage than you're already like originally doing. But as you saw, we just keep her from getting to play at all, and then
pretty much
it's nice and relaxed. Then I guess Ahady undressed. He just felt like it, I guess.
Just felt like it. Why not?
Just flexing as we do.
Yeah. I mean, when you're someone like Ahady, you can kind of flex a little bit in these runs.
And yes, Rufflet, there's a very important thing if you ever play Souls games, not even speedrunning. Fashion Souls is more important than anything.
Agreed.
Fashion-born, Fashion Souls. You have to look good. You can't just go around looking like, oh no, I need more physical defense. None of that. You gotta look stylish, you know what I'm saying?
That was actually the ladder warp right there, so if you can see, the game brought him back to the point where he like basically tricked the game into thinking that he was on the ladder, so just saves a little bit of time instead of running back there.
Yeah. So like, usually you just, if you were doing like glitchless or something, you just run down the stairs. It's just like that small time save, because we measure it by in-game time. So when we quit out, the in-game time is not, like the clock's not ticking, so we're saving time in just quitting out there, which is really cool.
Pretty much. And then just some important item pickups here.
Yeah, so we get an early gem, same as earlier, the gem mechanic, where we slot them in to get more benefits. We just get like some of these early things to make our weapon a little stronger just for this early game, before we get like the big gems that really put in the chunky damage. So we also get just some pickups, make our weapon a little stronger. And then yeah, it's just progressing as normal. Like when you don't kill enemies, there's a lot of just walking through.
Yeah. I mean, this is like everybody's favorite part of the game, right? Would you say, Natty? Forbidden Woods, everybody's favorite part?
Yeah, definitely. I think almost anyone who has arrived at Forbidden Woods has not left for a sizable amount of time. Not only just on the boss that's in there, but just finding the boss is like a feat in itself.
Pretty much.
They put in this maze of just like different elevations and like dead ends, and yeah, it's quite.
And
Commentator,
right now,
please be my Bloodborne GF. You're definitely talking to me, right? The cute
that's
girl.
definitely for Natty, yeah. The cute girl. So right now I'm picking up some more items, just upgrading the weapon, just to make it a little bit stronger, and then going right back into Forbidden Woods.
Yeah, and yeah, we also, this is where we use those spare echoes to level ourselves up, and honestly, the doll needed to die, to be honest.
So Natty, we did see Ahady kill the doll here. Why?
Why? Well, to put it bluntly, she talks a lot, right? So
she does.
Just like, now don't try this at home, kids, but just like in IRL, if you hit someone with a saw cleaver, I'm gonna have to like use this metaphorically somehow so it doesn't sound bad. They'll be quiet.
Let's not. So anyways, right here, the Bagman, everybody's favorite. And that was actually a pretty good attack, would you say, right, Natty?
Yes, yeah. So the Bagman basically rolls an attack. That one's quick. Like that's the quickest one. So speedy death is good. It's the only death you want in the entire run because it warps you to a location.
Yeah. So now
I'll
we're
be
in
a
Yarhagal.
Yeah, Jared. Yeah. So we go and verse a boss here that you're technically not meant to fight until later, but he also revolves around the limb stagger mechanic. So we have a way to sort of deal with him efficiently. Guys.
Not all at once, please.
I can't.
I'll be fielding. Yeah, I'll be fielding the dates for Natty.
Yeah, take the dates. I'm committed or something like that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I got Gino.
Yeah, so. Natty has Gino. Come on, take it.
I'll dive into that. Okay, so Ahady's doing the faster method of this, and it didn't go so well. So now he basically wants to try and break another leg if he can.
Yeah. So Paul is one of those bosses that you would say kind of a little bit dangerous to let loose, right? Especially this early game.
Yeah, that's the best way to describe it. Like he's really quick and huge compared to your camera. Like he just overwhelms you with how much camera space he takes. So we generally stagger lock him so he doesn't get to play at all. Ahady tried to show I guess the coolest strat, which technically it's a second and a half quicker. It's what we generally do in runs, but as you can see, if you take it a little bit too slow, Paul does slip away like that.
Dangerous Flash killed him in 5 seconds. Yeah.
I mean,
he definitely can be. When you let him loose, he does a lot of damage very fast, like Natty said. But, you know, with the limb breaking mechanism and how kind of scripted the fight has gotten to be because of where this run is at, in terms of, like, you know, how many people are doing it and stuff, it definitely makes it seem like a much easier boss.
Yeah, exactly. And it's sort of a trade-off to this game. So to be the quickest, we don't actually level our life at all. So naturally, if we mess up, the boss will kill us in one hit sometimes, or 2 hits. So
usually one.
We're always in a danger zone, which some bosses get to play. Like not everything is like a Parl where you sort of beat them down, but we're going through the woods, getting some supplies, and then we're heading to another one of the really hard bosses. And it's
to Shadows.
Yeah. Anyone who's played this know that there isn't just one boss. There's 3 bosses in the one area, and they're very, very quick and quite sporadic.
Yeah. Very fun gang fight.
It's a really, yeah, like it's an insanely well designed fight. That sometimes, like, it can feel really unfair, but with the right sort of means, you have like such good control.
Yeah, definitely.
What is this backseating? Did I backseat?
Are we backseating?
Just telling him where to go and what to do.
Pretty much.
It's like being in the future. Yeah, I imagine he'd be ahead.
Yeah,
But
Ahdy's a little bit ahead of us. His actual stream, at least.
not too much to describe. Sort of going down through the forest.
Just
we have
running
a set
through the good old woods.
Yeah, like when you're casually playing it, it's horrible and you have no idea when you're going. But you know, obviously when you speed run, it's just a lot of point A to point B.
Yeah, there's a very precise map and line that you want to take to be able to get places as quickly as you can. So.
Yeah. So we're coming up to it now.
All right, yeah, just about to enter in shadows. And here there's actually kind of a, an order that you'd like to kill shadows in. So do you want to like speak about that a little bit more,
Yeah.
Natty?
Yeah, definitely. So how the shadows sort of work, the main katana guy, he has the most life, and he's also the most dangerous, and I'm sort of like monk-assing right now at what's going on. I'm kind of scared. But
Just a little bit.
pretty much, we kill this mage really quick, like rush him down, because he's the quickest to kill. He doesn't have a very large life bar.
And he's also spamming
it's
stuff
mainly-
at you from kind of far away, so you kind of want to get him out of the way.
Yeah, and the shadows work in phases. There's 3 different phases. When any shadow gets down to like I think it's like 40%, they go into the phase change, which is where they get their snaky boys. But as you see, once we can rush down the first 2, that last one, you just hit him. He tries to jump away, and you can consistently keep him in a loop. So yeah, the Fatos. Don't worry, guys. I know what I'm talking about. I'm a professional.
Yeah, he's a professional. We swear.
He
was the only one available too. Not just kidding. But I mean, as you can see, we couldn't even get through all of our commentary on the run before Ahady's like already done with them, which is just like a testament to his skills and how quick that you can actually get through this boss, which for many people during a regular playthrough have found extremely difficult. And this was another skip, Lunarium Key skip. Basically saves you from having to go into that room, grab the Lunarium key, and open the door to get to Rom. But now we're already at the next boss of the run, which is Rom.
Yeah. This is where it starts to boss rush a bit a lot.
Yeah.
So
just a little bit.
Lots starts happening. This boss is infamously a poo head, if I could describe it in excuse my French, but they have all these little spiders. Now, you're just like, oh, little spiders, how bad can it be? All of these guys have the potential to one-shot you. Yeah. For some reason, their damage is just jacked up, like so French.
Their damage is pretty high, yeah.
Yeah,
and I mean,
so what we do is...
Oh, sorry.
No, you go.
I was gonna say, there's actually 2 different ways to do this boss. What you'll see in the chat, some people referring to as a YOLO ROM. So basically a YOLO ROM would be not clearing all the spiders beforehand, but the traditional way would be to kill all the spiders just so that they don't kind of come up from behind you and one-shot you in the back, essentially.
Yeah, just like detriment, what's
much.
going on. So as you can see, we have it down to a bit of a fine art where we deal enough damage to get her to do her little teleport, and then we hit her out of it and do a little bit of extra damage, and then we can just run to where she teleports. There's actually a visual reference in the water that we have with the moonlight reflection. That's sort of how we can gauge where she's going to be once she teleports. So it's pretty much once you clear the spiders, there's a good chance that she's dead because
definitely.
We got a good gauge on it all.
But YOLO ROM is a little bit faster, actually. How much faster would you say YOLO ROM would be?
Basically a first try Lunarium key skip with a, I guess if you want to say a perfect ROM to YOLO ROM, probably anywhere between 20 to 25 seconds. Since there's a lot of ways ROM can die. But yeah, you can definitely save a chunky amount of time not killing those spiders.
Yeah. But then, of course, like we said, the trade-off is that you might die instantly. Because you lose track of one of the spiders.
Probably will die.
Probably will die. You lose track of one of
Yeah.
the spiders, they come up from behind you, and you're basically just dead.
Yeah, it's good fun.
Mm-hmm. You're just grabbing some more important items. Peaching, yeah. Imagine peaching.
Nobody ever peaches.
No,
ever.
not once. Not once.
So yeah, we get some items for just to go to places later. Just sort of, it's a bit of cruise control. There's a skip here. Tay-Ray knows a bit about it.
Yeah, I actually love this skip. So basically, there's two ways to do this skip. One of the ways is you can kind of run almost up to the fence, do an R2, which is basically a charged attack with your saw cleaver, and then you'll basically go straight through the kind of fencing and then land where you saw Ahady land. There's also another way to do it, which is kind of the backup strat, I guess the pro flow method, right, Natty? And that one would be, it's slightly more complicated. You run all the way up to the fence, kind of back up with circle, then you R1 and then R2 to basically achieve the same thing, but it's just in case, it kind of eliminates the need to be exactly placed when you do your arch.
Close enough, yeah. Basically, you press the buttons and it'll put you in the right place as what you would be doing if you just ran up to it.
Basically.
And did the charged attack.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that little thing he picked up just there, that's like our big damaged item that we put into our weapon later. There's a few of those scattered in the game. You can get better ones later in the game, but they're out of the way. So we have it routed in a way that we're going to get like good damage, not the best damage, but like the best damage that can be obtained without, taking more time. General speedrunner logic.
And this is probably one of, a pretty annoying boss for those in a casual playthrough, I would say, right, Natty? This is one reborn.
Not even casually. He's always awful. Yeah.
That's very true. I mean, well, you can see from the top, you've kind of got people shooting fireballs at you while you're trying to deal with this giant monstrosity in the middle. And basically the goal is to kind of just, as with other bosses, stun lock him into not really doing very much. But you still got to worry about the fireballs, because at 10 vitality, those can easily, couple shot you if you're not careful.
Yeah. The big thing is one reborn can attack while he's staggered, where he drops bodies on you, but it's random, and that's why people get really frustrated about it. Because if you get hit by fireballs as he drops a body on you, you pretty much just take all your life in one hit.
Definitely.
Big fun.
Bloodborne has a mechanic, for those that aren't aware, Bloodborne does have the mechanic where you were able to rally some of your health back, but if you're basically, if an attack takes away all of your health before you're able to rally it back by attacking, you're just dead, and you kind of have to accept the consequences.
You're donezo.
Yeah, you're done.
I don't know the exact numbers, but one reborn last tournament we had killed, I think it was something crazy, anywhere between higher than 16 and 26. I think there's a 6 in there.
Oh, wow.
So it destroyed a lot of runners.
Yeah.
So he is basically considered the race killer. But yeah, many runs had deaths, yeah. So as you can see, the game really starts to pick up in bosses for a bit. You just start slaying bosses, and it's where it gets a bit fun. And then right now we're just getting the rest of our materials. There's very little upgrading that happens after this. We only upgrade 3 times in the entire run, and this is our second pit stop. This is probably our biggest jump in damage, because we get nice gem to put in, and some more levels. And
so what are your stats at each point in those, because you said you go back 3 times, what do your stats want to be each time that you return to the Hunter's Dream to upgrade?
Yeah, so since we never level vitality, it's always strength and skill. The first one we have 25 strength and 19 skill. The saw cleaver we use gets buffed by strength mainly, and a little bit by skill. The hidden thing to skill is the more skill you have. Skill's like a dexterity sort of stat. When you riposte enemies, you get more damage from that. So that's why we like to have a bit more for some of our strats that we do. But the first time you go back, it's 25 strength, 19 skill, which is a nice balance for Shadows and Rom, and I guess 1 reborn. And then we take that detour there. We get 32 strength and 25 skill, which is another, you know, nice balance just to deal with the upcoming bosses. And then the last time we're actually working on a new strat that Ahady tested out the other day, where after Wet Nurse, we pump all strength. And that's the main problem, as I said. Viscerals, which are the ripostes, they don't do as much damage, but you are... Yeah, you get to just attack people. So Ahady, he got kind of scared. So he
this was
out.
the strategy that, you know, Natty explained earlier. With quitting out, will reset all the enemies in the area. So instead of dying or taking a hit, you know, sometimes it's just preferable to quit out.
Yeah, it's just like a really nice safety. We do have this tiny rule when we're running that we need to see the animation finish on the door, which I think he tried to do. I don't think he actually got it, but yeah, it's just a tiny rule where we don't let people, because if you've seen any other Souls runs, they quit out on a lot of doors and stuff. It's quicker in-game time, but it's not quicker in the actual real time. We'll just say that he got that. It was pretty much probably frame perfect. That's what we'll say. If anything
perfect,
is
definitely
not understood, you just say it's frame perfect. So
yeah,
it's
that's
a nice
all you have
frame
to say.
perfect quit out by Ahady.
And I mean, now we're also entering the part of the run too where it's like, even, you know, any of these like just random enemies and mob enemies can almost one-shot you too. So I would say that you'd even have to be like more careful as you're going around here, even just of like random enemies, not just the bosses.
Yeah, definitely. So most enemies do one-shot you around this area, especially because how Bloodborne works is when you're accelerating or trying to dodge, you take counter hit damage. Counter hit damage can be upwards to 200% extra damage. So if you were to just like be walking and take a shot, you'll live. If you were running, instantly dead from so many things. So it's quite intimidating as a speedrunner where you're never walking.
Yeah, you always want to be
run.
running. Yeah. And here's our favorite memer. It is Miko Lash. Very interesting boss, I would say. And there's there's kind of a, you know, I guess a joke, or I don't know what you'd call it, but basically you want him to run into this area instantly, and that would be called getting a Swedish. But unfortunately he didn't do that, so that's, what, a hamburger, right, Natty?
Yeah, so... basically, we've had Swedish runners, and we still have the Swedish runner, and they tend to... I mean, it's just a theory, but they tend to get all the really quick Miko Lashes where he goes right into the room. So getting a Swedish is quite good, as well as Americans tend to get the hamburger. It's not directly correlated that Americans all eat hamburgers, but you know.
You know, yeah.
So he got a hamburger right there. That's like the half-fast one.
Yeah.
Whereas, yeah, you want a Swedish, and there's two parts where you can get a Swedish.
Yeah, so basically you want, instead of, you know, anybody who's played this game casually will know that Miko Lash is kind of just runs around, and the theory is to try to kind of herd him into the room where you will be able to eventually kill him. But sometimes he'll just, you know, based on RNG, kind of run into there himself, and obviously, as a speedrunner, you want to be able to save as much time as possible, so it's definitely preferable that he does that.
Yeah, so we didn't get to see any of them as like a description, or I guess an example. That's what I'm looking for. But there's also a unique trait to Miko Lash. When he has chosen to go into his final room, if you get 3 hits of damage, you can aggro him. So that's what we do there. We use 1 hit, wait to get our stamina back, and then we do... Oh, well, we do 2 hits. So we do a hit, roll, do a hit, and then wait on that 3rd hit, and then we just pump damage into him. That lets us kill him without having to go around and get into the room that he runs into. So yeah, and that's Miko.
Yeah, kind of makes him look pretty easy. You also saw that the jump down with the extended saw cleaver does some additional damage as well too, just so that instead of having him run into that room and then run all the way around to jump on top of him, we kind of make sure that he gets just outside of the room so we can keep him there and not have to, again, run and chase after him. Yeah, Miko was pretty nice this time. Yeah.
Most of the time it's not Miko who is the delightful edition. It's those
Yeah.
puppets that
Yeah, the
sort of like to
puppets
dance
certainly-
around and hit you.
Oh yeah, because I mean, one shot from a puppet and you're either dead or very near dead. So
About
they
to
can,
die,
yeah, they can be pretty deadly for sure.
So we make a quick detour here, just to pick up this one thing. This is a special type of gem. The gems all have different slots. These droplets, they can go in any slot, and this one gives us 18% bonus damage. So even though it's out of the way of where we're going, 18% on our weapon for the rest of the run is just so much extra damage that we quickly go and pick that up, even though it's a little dangerous down there.
It's definitely worth routing in to get that extra damage. It just helps you kill the bosses quicker, and you know,
Yeah, definitely.
makes it a little easier.
Yeah, when I first played Bloodborne, I did not like understand how those gems worked, so my damage was quite atrocious.
And here we're taking a blue elixir, right, Natty? So do you want to like kind of explain what that does and
Yeah.
why you'd want to take that?
So, as you know, Gatorade, it's good. What's not to like? Like, it boosts your energy, but pretty much what it does is, like in real life, it makes you invisible, or at least partially invisible, so that enemies down the street don't aggro onto you as quick.
Yeah.
So we use that to get through, I guess, congested areas where there's a lot of enemies that can like all of those enemies there can one-shot you.
Yeah.
So
Even the
if we
pigs,
can
which
make them
don't
aggro
seem-
later.
Yeah, the pigs don't seem like a difficult enemy, but they definitely can hit you pretty hard.
Yeah, they're definitely dangerous.
And then here's Wet Nurse too. Another difficult boss, you know, in normal playthroughs, but here, I mean, not too difficult. Pretty much just the strategy is to kind of get behind her, using the beast blood pellet and the bolt paper, just trying to wail on her as much as possible, hoping that she doesn't teleport, because every teleport loses you, how many seconds is it, Natty?
It's like roughly 4, but it depends. She can teleport sort of anywhere, and if she does, there's like different attacks she can do. But yeah, generally you're losing yourself anywhere between like upwards of 4 seconds if she teleports. That was an extremely clean
perfect
fight.
Yeah, very like, you know, very, very clean. Didn't
Textbook,
teleport at all. That was amazing. Incredibly lucky for any run to get that sort of Wet Nurse. And
then they give you this nice little downtime to reflect on your life. And, you know,
just
see
think
if you,
about stuff for a little bit, you know?
Yeah, it's like, are you sure you want to continue this run? And then you're like,
sure?
yes, I am.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna hit the lamp. And yeah, as you see, Ahady's undressing.
Again.
This,
You know.
it's not actually for style. There's a reason. Those clothes tend to have like they drape down, so you can't see your feet as well. It makes our skips a little harder to line up. So we undress.
There is a strategic reason for it, you know, believe it or not.
Yeah, you'd think like we're all just nudists, but there's a reason for everything, you know. Just like IRL when we get naked sporadically, like
and
it
run down the
happens.
street. Yeah, you know,
Yeah,
happens.
run down, jump down elevators.
Yeah.
You know, usual.
Usual
odd
speedrunner
things
stuff.
We do.
Just speedrunner things, you know. And here's everybody's favorite skip of the game, right? This is lecture hall skip.
Oh, and then it's done.
Oh my
so,
god, just perfect. Okay, first try.
Yeah, it's a really precise angle. Generally, we always shoot to get it in 3 attempts. You got it first try, just to flex. So yeah.
Basically, all you're doing with that skip, like, you know, there's no luck, there's no like RNG or anything involved. It's literally just a very precise angle. So basically, all you're trying to do is use the jump of the running against the wall and using that jump to kind of just jump right over into the next area so that you don't have to run through it. So
yeah, and that's our ongoing joke is we say that it's bad RNG if we don't get it just because it's really precise.
And there's literally no RNG involved.
Yeah, it's just all skill.
Yeah. And here's another skip as well. Basically just using one of the gestures to kind of get down into the area where the elevator is and then quitting out before you hit the ground, obviously, so you don't die. And then that should put him right on the elevator when he loads back in.
Yeah. Its main sort of purpose is there's a little rock underneath the elevator, like the front of it, that's lower than usual, and when you quit out, you come in at a non-fatal damage. It's meant to always be fatal when you touch that elevator, but since we come back in from a lower height, that's how you can survive it, which skips this entire area. If anyone played this game normally, this area is horrendously confusing.
Yes.
I think this is probably more confusing than Forbidden Woods. It's actually... it's so hard to traverse this place.
Here's a fun
this boss is pretty hard. Yeah.
Oh yeah, hard boss. Let's watch how Ahady does it. Oh,
big fight.
Scary.
Oh wow.
Oh wow.
That was close.
That was really close. You know, really, really close. Closest fight I've ever seen. Yeah. Oh wow. Obviously, just joking around here with how scripted this amygdala fight is. You know, break some limbs, use the stagger, and she's dead instantly. Yeah,
now that we've done our final damage, not our final damage upgrades, but we've put in those droplets and gems, our weapon is just insanely strong. So we go and clean up the optional stuff that we didn't do earlier. So now we're going to make a detour to Cleric Beast, another insanely threatening boss that we might or might not get past.
I mean... if you think about it, Cleric Beast in the beginning of the game, kind of tough, right? But
he's so scary. Like...
Definitely. Instead of doing him in the beginning of the game, though, since he isn't actually required to proceed, might as well come back to him later when we have a ton of damage. It's literally like, what, 5 or 6 hits, I think, and then he's just dead.
Yeah. Pretty much it's 6 hits, we just absolutely wail on him. He doesn't
doesn't even get a chance
more
to
than
do anything.
amygdala. Yeah. You'll see in a second. It's definitely the hardest boss easily.
Yeah, we're really scared for Ahady right now.
Oh yeah, I'm
actually
shaking
just
in my boots.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, watch this man.
This is like pretty much the final detours of the game. There is one more optional boss we do later, but we'll kill Cleric Beast, do another big detour to get like the optional items for the all bosses, and then it basically becomes like a boss rush through like DLC and stuff like that. So yeah, 6 hits, really hard boss.
Easy.
Yeah. Literally shaking and crying. Yeah. Yeah.
Not too hard. Ooh, close.
So now we do final level upgrades. I think Ahady wants to do his new stats, which is all strength. There you go. Yep.
Yeah.
So I hope he's aware that he doesn't have 44 strength, but it shouldn't matter for anything. And that's just because when you use the elixir, the pig sometimes doesn't die when we're running past them, and that gives us what we need to get 44 strength. But most things should be identical.
And like Natty said, this is kind of a newer strat that kind of is being tested out currently. Not the one in use by most speedrunners who are running this game right now, but it's one being tested to potentially be used.
Yeah. Like super new, like he only thought of it, I think,
a couple days ago.
Yeah, it was like 3 days ago this idea came out. So it's still we see it being better, but it's so untested, and he's getting kind of unlucky. That dog doesn't usually follow you.
Yeah.
So that was a little spooky. So he's gonna quit out just to reset the enemies, make it a bit comfy. There's a skip we do here. Usually we just rush into it. But
with the enemies that close on your tail, you kind of don't want to risk it.
Yeah, it's a slippery skip. You can either soft lock or just outright die. So there's a little bit of pressure that comes with it.
Definitely.
Maybe.
Hopefully not, though.
So there we go. We walk along the gravestones, get out of bounds, and then there's a little grave down here that we have to go into blind. We land on it, and he missed it. So that's what happens if you don't get it right.
I mean, it's obviously tough. You can tell, like, you know, you kind of have to be pretty precise with where you're going. You can't really see the inside texture of that area, so it can be definitely difficult.
Yeah, like there's a slight visual reference with the textures that we use, but it's still like a broad, like blind sort of drop, and that's I guess what's intimidating about it. Luckily, it's not too far away, so it's not a big deal. So we're just gonna cruise over again. This is the huge detour.
Yeah.
There's some neat things after the cave that some people tend to enjoy. We might talk about those. There's 2 of them, maybe 3. So he's gonna quit out again, just in case that dog, you know, gets up to any funny business. And this is sort of why we have this like rule of quitting out. As you can see, quit outs are really like they just take ages.
Yeah.
And it's literally just for some in-game time. We prefer, especially Ahady uses the fastest setup. I guess like the pay to win, which is a PS4 Pro and an SSD rather than an HDD. So people on slower setups, it can be upwards of like 20 seconds or 30 seconds of just like waiting to get back into the game. It's horrible.
Right. So perfect. We've got like the cave skip now, which executed perfectly.
Yeah.
And then here's everybody's favorite part, right?
Yeah. So.
Look at all
For
these
those
ladders.
of you that don't know, no, I'm not gonna do it. Basically, we've got some ladder enthusiasts that that play this game. You know, ladders and such.
Yeah.
Ladders. What a delightful thing. You think it's over. There's just one ladder. It's like, but wait, there's another one.
Ladders. Yeah, there's 2.
There's 2 ladders. You thought it was over, but we doubled up because we are quite insane. Another. Yeah, you thought there wasn't another.
You thought that one giant ladder was enough? No, it wasn't. Look at this. The more ladders, the merrier, as we say, you know.
Yeah. What a sleek and enjoyable ladder.
Very enjoyable.
Pretty great. And like, there's also got a cousin right over here, so you're not missing out at any point.
Oh no!
Honestly,
just
ladders.
Ladder on ladder on ladder action. No.
Yeah.
The most thrilling part of this run, arguably.
Quite exhilarating. But the main reason we go out here, we need some sort of optional pickups to get to the secret areas.
Yeah.
So
oh, sorry.
Unfortunately, we have to do it, even though like it's so tedious to just sort of run around here.
Yeah.
We'd love for the idea of like any aspiring people who want to find skips, find a way to skip straight to this, so we don't have to like
amazing.
Go through the cave and stuff. I'll pay you. Find like some sweet
Natty will
way to
actually
skip
pay
here.
you in chicken, probably.
Yeah.
But as you saw Ahady pick up, that was the that was the Cainhurst summons to get to Ligarius, and then this woman also gives you another one of the umbilical cords, which you know we're gonna need at the end. So
yeah, so she's pregnant there, so you know one hit of the saw cleaver and you get the umbilical cord. Take that as you will.
No, please don't. Very in context for just this game only. Oh my gosh.
In cuddles and chicken? Yeah. I do pay in chicken. Yeah, I'm a chicken enthusiast.
He is.
So it's pretty like chill from here, pretty much up until we get to the DLC, and then DLC like it's got some spans between things, but a lot of the DLC to endgame is like our boss rush, so we're just going and slaying bosses because there's no more optional stuff we're doing.
Pretty much.
Yeah, so right now we're just gonna head on up to the orphanage, take care of a couple of out of the way bosses, and then we'll be heading into the DLC, which if anyone's played it is like the greatest part of this entire game.
Yeah. Agreed. Definitely some of the best bosses, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think, yeah, so like Tay's in the DLC right now, and how are you finding the DLC?
It's very difficult, I would definitely say. I mean, I chose to do my playthrough on 10-bit, which is what they do in the speedrun, so certainly made it more challenging on myself, but I would definitely say that, you know, all of the bosses are at least like 2 to 3 times more challenging than any of the bosses in the base game, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah, no, they definitely like turn it up to an 11.
Oh yeah, so much more like unforgiving and, you know, require a lot more patience and precision and man, but they are fun. They are very fun.
Yeah, 11 out of 10 game. It's amazing.
Nani, who's your favorite boss in Bloodborne?
My favorite boss in Bloodborne and like almost ever, definitely in Soulsborne, is Orphan of Kos, who is the final boss of the DLC.
Should've guessed.
Yeah, he's a giant baby rage monster, and he screams and like there's nothing to not enjoy about him. But yeah, he's the first boss in a game I felt like was so hideously unfair. And then like when you learn him, I feel like you're just on this completely level playing field. It's really amazing.
Agreed. And right now we're just doing another skip called Orphanage Key Skip, which Natty kind of requires a sort of bit of a the interesting setup, like you said, with the threaded cane earlier. So you're basically grabbing the attention of this guy who holds the orphanage key, and then with the threaded cane, and then kind of killing him through the door, which the game allows you to do.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's why we got that cane way back at the start, just so we can aggro the enemy and then hit him without having to go around. And that's pretty much like what they want you to do is go up and around and get the key, then you can open the main door out of here. That just saves us going.
As speedrunners, we don't want to do that, so kind of just want to skip around that. Also, these guys are horrific, very frightening. You know, they can basically one-shot you. They can use that little magic spell that you saw to hold you, and then basically eat your brains. So yeah, that could have been a little scary there, but Ahady managed it like
they also wait around corners, which is the best part.
Definitely.
So anyone who comes here, this is probably the scariest area in the game. The music's just like this ominous sound, and they just have like these guys waiting to grab you around the corner. It's less than desirable for the most part.
Agreed. So here's Celestial Emissaries. Not a very hard boss, even in just, you know, in general playthroughs. Kind of a general idea here is there's 2 ways to go about this boss, similar to ROM. You know, you've obviously got the little ads that you can either choose to clear or not to clear, and Ahady did in this case clear them. And then just kind of wail on the actual boss until he's dead, which very not challenging.
Yeah, if you saw what Ahady did just there, he did the shot, which is apparently if you shoot your gun, you're just cool. So that's what he did, just to show you guys that he can shoot.
I mean, style points like really do matter in this game, I think.
Yeah, just a touch. Just
a touch, you know. And here, you know, immediately, like Natty was kind of saying, boss rush to the next boss who very challenging in a normal playthrough, but here managed to
so dangerous,
kind of stun lock into just nothingness. So you see a couple of hits beforehand before her health bar even comes up, and they do that so that way you know, the next hit will be that stun so that they can get more damage on her.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you let her play, it's horrible, but we don't let her play, so
pretty much just using that stun ability, so yeah, just getting more damage and not letting her play. I would say that's what you want to do with all the big kind of quote-unquote monster bosses in this game, is use that limb-breaking mechanism to stun them, potentially using the viscerals to do more damage, or just to kind of keep wailing on them so that way, you know, they die as fast as possible.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And here we're just teleporting into the DLC.
Sitting down for style as well.
Yeah. All style
What we
points.
haven't seen is the delightful motion gestures that this game has that can't be switched off.
Pretty much.
So if we see one, we'll go into detail on that, but they're quite fun. Imagine not 360 shooting the pregnant lady in the clinic. Yeah, I hear only people who are dumb do that, but it doesn't always check out. Yeah.
Pay to win adapt.
So now we're just gonna buy some goods just to go into DLC. We've gotten the DLC lamp, and now the DLC sort of starts. So we just get those pellets. Obviously, they just give us tons of damage.
Yeah, and upgrade the weapon.
Yeah, just finish upgrading. We get that plus 10, so maximizing our damage and then going in to kill the big boy bosses. Which is, like I said, there's some running in between, but for the most part, this is basically our boss rush.
Yeah, this last section is pretty quick, boss to boss to boss.
Yeah. So
and again,
this first bit's like the biggest run.
Yeah, and this area is pretty scary. You know, like I said before, where we were even at the Mikolash kind of area, all of the enemies could one-shot you, but here you'll definitely be one-shot by almost all of these enemies. So again, it's kind of being a little bit wary and being careful of your surroundings so that you don't get one-shot and have to run all the way back.
Yeah, it's good fun. Dying anywhere here is just hard to run back.
Yeah, it really is.
But we're going to need this item later, just to activate an elevator, so this is sort of like our DLC run. Then we're going to head over to Ludwig, which is also like a fan favorite boss.
Yeah, my favorite boss.
Yeah, it's really hard to dislike Ludwig.
It is.
You have to be like pretty mean to hate Ludwig.
Yeah, only meanies hate Ludwig.
Yeah, he's a great boss. He's got two completely unique phases. And one of the best like OSTs in the game.
Agreed.
And yeah, not only that, he's the this is what the DLC is going to be like, boss.
Yeah,
so
welcome to the DLC.
Oh yeah. I've played Bloodborne, it was easy, and then you fight Ludwig and you're just like you're blown back, you're like, whoa.
Pretty much.
Alright. This is a whole different element that we're in right now.
Yeah, exactly. It's almost a shame that we don't get to see like the second phase of Ludwig in the speedrun, because it's so cool and interesting, like in my opinion at least. But I mean, obviously would make it a lot more difficult and challenging, and why let him get to there, you know, why let him play?
Yeah, we gotta
you don't have to.
Speedy.
Gotta be speedy. Can't appreciate the game too much.
We do have a category that's like decently optimized by Ivan, which is blood level 4 all bosses, where
that's very true.
You can see like a lot more of the actual fights on the lowest level. It's really cool. But yeah, this is all the progressing for now. This run is one of the longest in the game, between like the lamp and the actual boss.
Yes.
There are lamps around this area, but they're out of the way, so we never take them if we run. We want to be speedy.
Kind of wouldn't really serve much of a purpose. And here again, the blue elixir being used just to kind of get away from all make yourself a little bit more invisible to the enemies and try and rush through to the next section.
Yeah, and what happened there is actually really, really, really rare. The hunter shot him twice. If you don't do your stamina right and that hunter shoots you twice, you'll fall off the ladder and die, so...
Yeah.
Lucky he did his stamina right on the rare chance that hunter shoots more than once.
And of course, that's something that like a very experienced speedrunner, I think, like Ahady would obviously know how to do, but maybe someone a little bit newer to the game might not know.
Yeah, the other day, Fool got shot off the ladder, so it's something, you
calling out!
Yeah.
Oof, that insane call out. And here again, just using that limb breaking mechanism to stunlock him right into the start of phase 2, which immediately a couple hits and then into a visceral, and he's done.
And that's like considered one of the hardest bosses in the game.
And that's one of the hardest bosses. Yeah, exactly. Done in like what, 10 or how long was that? I don't even know. Only a couple seconds, really.
Yeah. Nice and quick, the way we like it.
Yeah, obviously.
So yeah, now this is, I would say, the scariest area in the entire game that's not a boss. This area is horrifying with how quick you can die.
Oh yeah.
So what we'll do first, this elevator has an item underneath it. He's going to send the elevator down, and he'll remark so it's down there. And then we're going to pull the elevator up, and roll ourselves underneath it to get that item real quick.
Yeah.
That'll be used to fight a boss later. And then we get to go to the truly scary area. So yeah, we just wait.
Yeah, and this one's a little bit tricky, you would say too, right, Natty? Because you kind of have to time it pretty precisely so that you also don't die. Because as you can see, his health is already getting low, but you know, he's fine.
You basically, you don't want to rush anything, but if you're too slow, you're not going to get down there. So
Yeah.
there's a little bit of method to it, but like anything, practice makes perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So now, this is ascending the research hall, so there's been a lot of methods to getting through this place, and they all are horrible. This one's the best one. These brain guys, they hit quick and sporadically, like you can't really like quite gauge sometimes when they're going to hit you, so...
And there's so many of them, too, that it's just kind of difficult to make sure that you run around all of them, right?
Yeah, they're just everywhere, and that's why we quit out here, because like it's if you don't quit out, they're awful to get through, like absolutely awful. So we quit out, and then we climb up a ladder here, and there is this one enemy that nobody has a definitive solution to yet. If he feels like being mean,
so hopefully he'll amazing. Hopefully he'll be nice. Oof. Yeah, he was somewhat nice. Those hits are always scary though. You don't want to get hit by that guy because he can really mess you up. But luckily, Ahady was able to make it out of there.
Yeah. So now, what we need to do is just like ascend so we can shift these stairs. It's like some Harry Potter type dealio.
Pretty much.
And that'll get us the way to get to the next boss, which is Twitch chat. So everyone knows them quite vividly.
Yeah, I think, you know, even if you aren't too familiar with the game, you'll know the memes that are, you know, living failures. Which, you know, not even too difficult on just a base playthrough, but certainly just infinitely easier in a speedrun, where you just whack them and they're just dead. And here just, you know, rolling off the edges so that he doesn't have to run through all of the staircasing.
Yeah. Oh, that's my soundboard.
The insane phone ringing. Well, Natty's gone for now. So yeah, again, this is living failures. You want to kind of be careful of these guys because they do hit pretty hard, especially at base vitality. But with the beast blood pellet and the bolt paper here, it doesn't make them too difficult. Except that can happen sometimes. Speaking of hitting hard, yeah, definitely. Definitely tough. They can definitely hit hard, like I said, at base vitality, not an easy boss. So just basically have to kind of run back through here to failures again. Fortunately, the way back up there is a lot easier. You basically just have this elevator and can run right back up. You don't have to do the whole moving staircase thing again, because that would be pretty annoying, in my opinion.
Step away for 1 second and tragedy strikes.
Yeah. The insane natty luck, we needed it. Where were you when we needed you the most?
Good luck, charm.
I know. But like I said, that run back wasn't that difficult, wasn't too far away. Right back at living failures.
Yeah, it's not too bad. I mean, it's only bad when you want to be big quick, but luckily there's a nice benefit where there is stuff you can pick up along the way if you want to. If you do die, it'll sort of give you goods for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and like I said, like these guys are pretty easy now. Once you get behind them, just wail on them. They're pretty much almost dead before they can even make it all the way up off the ground. So
yeah, once it's in the rhythm, it's pretty chill, except for this guy who throws bolts. Like,
yeah, you definitely have to be careful.
I'm getting a little scared. I'm not going to lie.
No, he's got this.
Okay, it all ended well.
It all worked out. I was showcasing what dying looks like. Yeah, we actually didn't, we hadn't seen a death yet, so I think that was really kind of Ahady, I will say. But no, any of these bosses at the end, very, very difficult. Even living failures, to be really quite honest. Yeah. It's just like one accidental misstep or one wrong move or weird RNG and, you're dead, so. Saw him die to a Batman, that's true.
What's really intimidating about it all,
yeah, definitely.
Like, we're pumping damage, but we will also die instantly.
Yeah.
So, this boss rush can be a bit scary, and
I mean, it really is a boss rush here, because you go from one boss, even, whether we think they're hard or not, living failures, you literally go from one boss to the next boss right away. So we're already at Maria, which I would say is one of the harder bosses in the DLC. I certainly struggled with Maria.
Yeah, Maria is, she can be quite hurtful to your feelings, that's for sure.
I mean, the cool part about the speedrun way to do this is by using the bolt paper and the beast blood pellet, you basically only have to worry about phase 1, and between phases 2 and 3, you're just between those little kind of segments where she's gathering her like blood powers, I guess. I'm not really a lore expert, but in that segment, you're basically just wailing on her, and then by the time you have done that, she goes right into the next kind of phase. So it kind of makes her a lot easier in that regard.
Yeah, and there's a specific reason we can do that. You may have missed it, yes. I guess, but there's a mechanic where when you eat the pellet, you have this meter, and as you see, when it runs out, the meter will disappear, like it did just there. Ahady, when he finished failures, he quit out after the failures were dead. The reason you do that is when you come back in, you may not have the pellet effect, but your meter is still filled, so you don't have to actually refill it. So he went in with like half of his meter. That's already like 35% extra damage on her, and then you get it straight full, and you're doing 70%. So it's a nice little tidbit to really get in that damage to kill Maria quick.
Definitely. Because, if you let her loose, too, she's another very difficult boss.
Yeah, she will kill you quick. Very, very, very quick.
Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, Maria's not an easy boss. She can be if you play her right, but, And this is another kind of scary place to run through as well.
Yeah, it's mainly just,
running through all these enemies.
We're gonna take this lamp here. The reason you quit out, there's this huge shark behind you, like huge, that just blocks the doorway when you turn back around.
Yeah.
We pretty much quit out, so he's not going to be there when we take the lamp. And the lamp's mainly just there to feel like, I guess, in case anything goes wrong with the next skip that's going to happen, as well as the boss that's coming up. It's a nice contingency.
It's definitely nice to have.
Yeah, definitely. Ahady bought a backup pellet, which he used in failures, obviously.
Yeah.
So if he dies again, he's going to have to go back and get another pellet from the dream.
So this skip that you see happening right here is actually Hamlet's skip, and it's kind of a harder one to do because, as you saw, he ran off and then kind of jumped against the rock and slid down. And the point of that skip is to kind of quit out right as you're hitting the ground. So before the "you died" comes up, but right as you're hitting the ground. So that way it'll teleport you now where you see here, where you're done with Hamlet's skip. Kind of just use these rocks going into the little area where Orphan is, and then boom, you're there. So it basically skips the nasty Hamlet segment of the game, which is not too much fun.
Yeah. So this boss, he does have a way that you can consistently kill him, but it's slower, so we're not going to do that. We're going to basically every attack he does have a way to get around it and stab him in the back.
Yeah.
So that's all we're going to do. We're just going to loop him and get in this damage.
Yeah, just pretty much charge R2s until he's dead.
Yeah, so you'll see right there. That's a little trick we do where he scratches his pocket. The reason you do that is Orphan of Kos likes to read inputs, and if he sees an input, his reaction is to jump attack. So that's the reason why we scratch our pocket. He won't always jump attack, but we try and make him jump attack.
And by scratching,
there you go.
kind of scratching the pocket, natty basically means that you don't have an item like in your quick kind of slot inventory. So that way you press square as if you were going to use an item, but you don't actually have anything in there. So it's just the kind of animation of looking in your pocket for something, which does, like Natty said, trigger the jump attack.
Yeah, exactly.
You can say wowie while doing commentary. Wowie.
Yeah, I can say wowie.
And wowega.
Wowiga. You say it like Ahady would.
Wowiga. And then just picking up some more beast blood pellets for the last bit of the run.
Supply. Yeah, so we're going to the last DLC boss now. We used to actually fight this boss, but we finally have an art where he doesn't get to play, which is our favorite. This boss can one-shot you with almost every attack. He's probably like the hardest hitting boss in the entire game.
Definitely.
Yeah, so having a strat where he doesn't get to play is the most desirable thing.
Ideal.
Really.
Yeah, it's pretty optimal, I would say.
Yeah, I think I'm no expert, but like
you're not?
Seems like it would be good. No, I am not. It's my first day. I'm surprised I'm doing this well on commentary.
Wow, you're amazing. You're natural.
Yeah. I'm just doing it by the flashing colors and like piecing words. Yeah.
Definitely. The teleprompter's on the side of the screen. Only an elitist, not an expert. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just here to bully people, not be good.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
So this is sort of our art, and it's the way the hits work. Every time you're doing 3, Lawrence has this response where he jumps back. So you'll see he jumps back there. Then he'll go and he'll do this overhand raise, so we get some more damage in. And then he'll jump back again. And then we get some more damage on that broken limb. We break his hand, just to keep him in the stagger. Some more broken limb damage. Then he'll go into his phase change, which gives us a chance to hit a little bit. Ahady played it a little safe, which is fine. So he got to play once. But yeah, for the most part, we just keep him.
Wasn't a problem.
It's a really comfy area, yeah. So that wraps up all the DLC. And now there's just 2 optional bosses that are really out of the way, like
very out of the way.
That we're gonna go take care of, and then we're gonna go to the final 2 bosses, which I think agreed by most players is the hardest part of the entire run. They're really crazy. They just go in on you and they will kill you instantly, and it's quite intimidating.
Pretty much.
But yeah, for now there's a bit of a chill downtime. There's a lot of running that goes on here.
Yeah. Little time to reflect before the final bosses of the run.
Yeah, it's definitely like a nice downtime. After you finish the DLC, your adrenaline's sort of pumping, and then you just get to like breathe a little, because it's just like, oh yeah, it's just running.
Just for a little though, you know.
Yeah, it's really nice to, I guess, like some games like platformers and stuff where it's non-stop. That can be like very stressful because you don't get any sort of break. But this one, yeah, you sort of get to just relax a bit, I guess. Like, there's not too much to worry about most times. Sometimes, in rare occasions, rare occurrences, these dogs can do weird things. May have happened to someone in the past, but
you know, we won't name names, but
yeah, no names. And like, there's a certain boss you would think is a pushover.
Yeah, you know, things happen.
A legend once told of a player.
Oh, a legend
who died to this pushover. Oof, yeah,
that's pretty unlucky, I would say. Would go so far as to say unlucky.
Yeah, no one remembers his name.
No, it's been lost to time. Yeah, of course.
But he's definitely he is the inspiration to keep on keeping on
Oh,
as
the
they say.
inspiration. Oh, okay.
Yeah, the inspiration. You know that he died for us to go further and
Oh, I
like
see.
to be
I get it.
above and beyond. And he's also a weeb.
He's definitely a weeb. Like,
Yeah.
definitely a weeb. I mean, we have
Yeah,
no
of
proof,
course.
but like, yeah, definitely a weeb.
Definitely a weeb. Yeah, it's Nems. I'm gonna out and say it. It's
Oof.
Nems.
This insane stream call out. Unlucky, dude.
Must be Ella. It must be.
Yeah. Look at all these
Yeah.
insane
So
call outs. Thought we weren't
this is
naming
our
names.
last Gatorade. We
Yeah.
needed it. Yeah, but chat brings out the worst in us sometimes.
Us? Speak for yourself.
Us. Yeah. If I'm going down, I'm taking you with me.
Oof. Feels bad.
But this is the last cordial, you know, just to get through these dogs who, if you don't, they all gang up on you. It's like 5 dogs. It's
And
pretty
even these
awful,
3
actually.
witches too at the door here can be kind of annoying, so just might as well use that blue elixir and be safe about it.
So this is the boss that's a pushover.
Yeah, it can be, definitely. Especially when you have no insight, right? Natty?
Yeah, if you go, there's a unique trait to this boss where if you go in with more insight, which is like a collective, I guess, resource that you gain over the game, more of those like tall witches spawn, and they go like, if they get near you, they go mental. They just flail at you.
And, you know, doing witch is similar to the reason that witch is late, similar to the reason that we did cleric beast late as well. And the fact that it's just easier, it's really only a couple of hits to kill them right away. And then also you're in kind of a prime spot to get to where you need to be for Ligarius as well. Which you'll see, we're getting on the carriage now. And off to Canehurst. Found it, yeah, right?
Yeah, this is the fabled boss that nobody's ever found.
Pretty
Except
much.
Ahady, because I think he might be a god.
I'm pretty sure he is a god. We have it on pretty good authority.
Yeah, definitely way out where. So this, like the witches segment, and then this run is like, good 3 or 4 minutes of just ascending this castle. It's really like, yeah, there's a lot of downtime. That's why it feels really tedious.
Yeah. A little bit of stop and go, kind of like towards the end here. But after Ligarius, you know, it's the final 2 bosses and then done. So, really nearing the end.
Yeah. So I think the only death we've had so far is that Failure's death. So this is still like quite a quick run.
Really good run. Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, this area, yeah, it has like that syndrome where it's really, really nice, but when you put it down to like what you need to do in it, it's really lame. You don't really do much at all.
There aren't really like any skips or anything of note over here either. It's just pretty much the quickest path to get to Ligarius, really.
Well, there's one little one, which is the staircase here, where you just leap over the railing. I'm pretty sure this would be an intended skip.
Yeah, you're using the staircase to leap over and then be able to pull the lever instead of going all the way around here. But
yeah.
Not the most interesting skip in my opinion, but you know, gets the job done.
Oh, that's right, yeah, and we had a death to cave skip, yeah, so...
Oh, that's
just a couple of deaths, but it's still pretty fast overall.
Yeah. No, definitely. Very quick run.
So, we're finally getting close to that boss that's out.
Almost there.
Way out there, yeah.
Yeah, he really is way out in the middle of nowhere. Like, you know, the run to him Just
Oh, it's horrible.
kind of no matter how you slice it is just awful. And even you know, like, gosh, I don't even want to say it, but in the worst case scenario that you die to Ligarius, the run back here as well too is just like, it's kind of unbearable, especially if you're like me, someone who like dies, you know, constantly to bosses.
Yeah,
but I'm sure
definitely,
Ahady will do much better.
Yeah, we pretty much have a way to manipulate him. It's not 100% consistent. But what we do is we try and attack him in his animations so that he'll jump back like that with a skull. We wait and he'll like jump back with the skull. And yeah, this is sort of, if we get this going, it's guaranteed. So now he just needs to do 2 hits, a backstab.
Yep. The backstab while he's doing his giant attack, and then a visceral to finish it off. Done. Yeah, Ahady makes this look like such a cakewalk when in reality I feel like players really kind of struggle with this boss. He's definitely not a pushover, in my opinion.
Yeah, letting him loose is actually very, very scary. His face, he gets really quick, really suddenly.
Oh, he does. Especially when he comes flying over at you. And then here we are, like really the end of the race, or the end of the run.
Yep, so we buff up and we fight Grandpa.
Grandpa, yeah. Unfortunately, gotta get rid of Grandpa.
This is the hardest boss, and this is with the new stats. So you might actually see it done very quick. We have some pretty good ways to deal with him these days. So one more attack and he'll go into a phase change.
Yeah.
And this gives us some
Ahady's also parrying him with the gun, but doesn't do the visceral, just because, I'm assuming because it's quicker, right, Natty?
It's quicker on the sole fact that we get counter hit damage when they're in a parry state. So the other one's actually doing bonus damage. So that's it. We wiped him out in like 40 seconds.
Easy.
Destroyed him. Yeah, and then that's the worst opening that can happen in the entire game. So
pretty much.
Now he actually has to semi-fight Moon Presence like properly. And this is why we hate Moon Presence, because she does what she feels like.
Yeah. She definitely
he'll break her head, and then he's just gonna fist in the head
to finish it off. Because the visceral, you want to try and get the visceral animation at the end, because it's actually a lot quicker than just the death animation if you don't visceral at the end. So that was actually way preferable to get that visceral there. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's the run.
That's the all bosses showcase, guys. So we'll go to the in-game time now, which is what we measure by. And it was a 1:10:01, so that's really, really good.
It's such a really good run.
Especially for 2 deaths, yeah. So
Ahady did great.
That was very good stuff. I'm not
and then
sure
just wanna, I think we're talking to him. I think we're talking to Ahady. But in the meantime, while we figure that out, I just wanted to remind you guys all that the actual tournament will start on the 29th. And there's 15 racers in total. Both Natty and Ahady, who you saw here today, will both be competing as well. Got some more great commentators, amazing runners, and I think it's just going to be a lot of fun to watch. So I would highly recommend you guys all check that out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Even just looking at the matchups already, it's like I'm getting very excited seeing everything going into it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think
cool.
we're just are we talking to Ahady?
I honestly am not sure.
I thought we were potentially gonna ask him some questions, but I think it just depends.
Send
Need
him
an
a
invite?
message.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Can you, Natty? Natty will figure it out.
Where is it?
Not sure.
Okay. Pull in the main man, the Canadian.
The man
Canadian
himself.
mad lad.
Hi,
Welcome.
guys.
Hi.
That was such a sloppy run.
No.
everything. I'm happy about the time, but this is so sloppy. I don't know. I don't know why I made so many mistakes.
Well, I mean, you know, in a run, it's like it's a little bit more difficult because I think the pressure's kind of on, right? Like because
Yeah.
you know that you can't reset and you know that you can't like do anything about it really if things are out of
Yeah.
your hands, you know?
Canadian
so-
That
Mad
sewer
lad.
skip. The reason
Welcome.
I failed the rolls
Hi.
because I was laughing really hard because of the first two
No.
quit outs. I couldn't stop laughing. I was so. It was just so funny. I couldn't believe I did that because I haven't done that in so long.
Well, I mean, it happens. Like even you know the most experienced people, I think, can have trouble in some of these just because you know they're skips and they're not
Yeah.
guaranteed.
Also, I cheated.
Yeah.
I quit out on a door. It was the
Cheater.
end of the door though, so it doesn't count. Okay, it only saved me.
Yeah, well,
No, we weren't gonna
chalked
bring it
up
up.
to
We
a
weren't gonna
it was
let you have that one.
frame perfect quit out, so you got the
Yeah,
exact
definitely.
frame
Yeah,
where it
frame
was,
perfect.
yeah, it was open.
Yeah.
So we can let it slide. But what was your actual like? What was your favorite part of that run there? Like, what do you think went really well?
I think I did the DLC pretty well overall, except for failures. That was just a mistake, like a dumb mistake. But
Mhm.
and Gehrman and Moon Presence was a-okay. Okay with that.
Yeah. No, that was really good.
Yeah,
the ending
that
was great.
good, especially with the worst opener on Moon Presence. You kept that
Yeah.
together really nicely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be upset if I
Um,
got that in a run. That Gehrman and Moon Presence.
Mhm.
Yeah, definitely. It cleaned up really well at the end.
Definitely.
And then, what was the part you disliked the most?
I was pretty upset when I. What did I die to? Oh, cave skip. I knew I was too far to the left, but I didn't like stop myself and like try to adjust before I walked off. So I just walked off and prayed, and I knew like I was gonna die. So that was just a dumb mistake. Like I knew I was gonna die the moment I fell.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I definitely think from my perspective, my favorite part was your sewer skip. That was
Oh my god,
Oh,
I
man.
could not believe
Oh no.
that I couldn't quit out twice, and then I got the slow quit out, just the cherry on top.
Can I say what my actual favorite part of your run though was your
What?
wet nurse? That actually went so well.
That was a really good fight. Yeah.
It was amazing.
that was clean. That was very
So
very
clean.
clean.
But yeah, that was a good run though overall.
Yeah, I'm happy with the time.
Yeah,
That's
really
the
good.
perfect time. Natty knows why.
Wait, why?
Yeah, that's I'm very impressed. It's just a great time. It really
Just a
shines in
Impressive
your eyes.
time. 3
Oh.
seconds
Yeah.
slower would have been better, but
Yeah, but
4 seconds
beggars
slower,
can't be
you know,
choosers.
yeah.
Sure.
But definitely, I think it all went swimmingly for a showcase.
Mhm.
I Monka
Indeed.
asked at one point during Shadows that scared me at the start, but
Yeah.
that kicked in again really nicely. Do you reckon you're ready for the tournament?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You excited?
Pumped, going
Hell
to do
yeah.
well.
That was faster than my fastest time last tournament. My fastest time
wow.
last tournament was 1:10:58.
Oh, nice. Well, that's
So that
amazing.
was quite a bit faster.
Do you think you'll be using
Awesome.
these splits going into the tournament or?
Oh, I'm just running against my my PB splits,
Oh,
but
okay.
I'll probably make like a separate set of splits just so I don't
Got it.
have to like skip a bunch of them because I do things out of order.
Got it. That makes sense.
But for now I just use the same splits.
And you actually have a bye for the first round of the tournament, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we
I
won't
think
see you
Ivan
until
also
kind of the
does.
second round.
Yeah, you won't until I believe that newbie wants to do the first round in 1 week.
Okay.
So
we'll see you in 2 weeks.
next Monday.
Yeah.
Like the Monday after this coming Monday
Awesome.
will be
Cool.
my first race, or that
Well,
week at
sounds
least.
great.
And I'm hungry, so I'm gonna go eat.
Yeah, you definitely should do that.
I've been starving. I should have eaten before the run, but
Why didn't you?
I have no clue.
Oh no. Well, get something to
So,
eat.
all
Thank
right.
you so much for such a great great show match. Like this is awesome.
Yeah.
And congratulations on your time.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you. And yeah, I think we're about ready to wrap up here. Awesome. Thank you again to
That wraps it
Ahady
all up.
for the
great.
amazing run. Thank you so much to Natty for being a co-commenter with me.
Yeah,
that was
you
really
definitely
fun.
should
I
do
had
that.
such a great time, and I'm really happy that I got asked to
Why
do this.
didn't you?
It was really fun, and I enjoyed
Oh
it.
no, well, get something to eat.
And then
Thank
don't
you so much for
forget
such a great,
that the actual
great
tournament
show
is going to
match.
start on the
Like, this is
29th.
awesome.
And
Congratulations
I
on
think
your
it's,
time.
going to be really
Yep,
fun.
yeah, so-
Thank you.
Look forward to more matches.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, guys. Catch you later.
Thank you, guys.